everybody and welcome to the flute practice. Today we're going right back down to the basics and we're going to take a look at the difference between normal tongued notes and legato played notes. So let's go check it out. So sometimes this concept can be quite tricky, for various reasons. I'm going to just play around with Mary Had a Little Lamb. For those of you who don't know it, it is in a lot of beginner tutor books. You can kind of maybe Google the notes. Basically, I'm doing Mary Had a Little Lamb on B, A, G. So I've got B, A, G, A, B, 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 A, B, B, B. Excuse my singing of Mary Had a Little Lamb. So to start off, I'm just going to do it normal, tonguing each note with a nice 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So. Simple enough as a starting point. The tricky part comes in when we wanting to start slurring the notes. Now a slur, it's the little kind of bow-shaped thing over the two notes, basically means that we're not tonguing every single note anymore. We're tonguing now only the beginning where that bow starts, that note, only that note. So to start off kind of exploring this concept and getting used to this feeling, we need to understand that previously we're kind of playing the rhythm with our fingers and with our tongue. So we're getting the nice one count notes. So you're creating the rhythm with your fingers and your tongue at the same time. The real problem comes in when we start the slurring. We're no longer articulating with our tongue. We're actually creating the rhythm now with our fingers only. So a couple of things that I see happening with some students, they'll start and they'll see a slur and they'll think too fast. They'll think, or that kind of a thing, da-dum, da-dum, they start moving too fast. And they don't realize that actually what they need to do is now, da-da, the rhythm needs to happen only with the fingers. So, in other words, if I'm slurring now every two notes, so slurring two notes together, if you're learning how to do the slurring, I really would recommend that you just start slurring two notes together, even just moving up and down. Getting used to that feeling, and then try three notes. And then maybe four. Always realizing that your rhythm is being created by your fingers moving. It's really important when you're starting to learn slurring that you are not breathing between each note, so that you're not playing, because you're going to find it a lot more difficult to actually learn the slurring. So what I would recommend if you are doing this as a first step is to practice tonguing four notes without breathing in between. So you're going to, instead of going ta, 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 you're going to go ta, 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 ta. Because essentially it's the same thing as with the slur. You've got one stream of air, and all we're doing differently in the articulated notes, we are tonguing them individually, and in the slurred note we're leaving away the in-between ta, so we're just tonguing the first one. Maybe an intermediate step is play along 4-count note B, and then think. So now you're playing exactly the same B, but you're just adding a 2, 2, 2, 2 in between. I think a way to kind of understand this is you have a kind of stream of air, and you're not cutting up that stream of air into 4 segments, but rather you're just creating a little kind of indentation into that stream of air. So it's a constant flowing stream of air and not a kind of interrupted one. And in that way, when we then add different notes, so we have, it already becomes a natural step to then leave away the in-between tas. So really it's exactly like playing a nice long 4-count B, but now we are using the fingers alone to create the rhythm in between. It's very important that while we're slurring these notes that we're not doing anything here. We've got to imagine all those notes are really just riding on one flowing wave of air. So we're not in any way kind of breaking up that airstream, but really the fingers are just moving and the air is flowing. If you've got a friend that you can practice with and play flute with, what you can do is one of you blows into the instrument and you hold, over here just to stabilize, and the other kind of person comes around to the side and just does the fingers. And the one person really just getting that nice solid airstream into the flute, and the other person playing with the fingers. It's such a fantastic way to feel how the fingers can move independently of the airstream and what's going on over here. So I really recommend doing that. If you are starting to get better at articulation, you're getting the hang of, the slurs and how to articulate the individual notes and how to slur them together, you might want to start playing around with different articulations. So you can just play a normal scale. We're going to do a G major scale now. And we're going to do 2 slurred and 2 tongued. So or other way around, 2 tongued, 2 slurred. So now we're just really playing around and getting used to changing up the articulation and doing different things differently. Okay, that was just a little bit about the difference between tongued notes and slurred notes. Play around with this, explore this. There is a little bit kind of more depth and important implications of the difference between these two, which we will explore in the future. Until then, happy practicing everybody, and see you next time.